A question that is frequently brought up in cases that involve the ending of someone's life is whether this act was done in self-defense or the use of deadly force was unwarranted and constitutes murder. Working as a pharmacist in Oklahoma City, Jerome Ersland could never have predicted that on a warm May day in 2009, he would end up taking the life of a teenage boy, Antoine Parker, that attempted to rob his store. Unfortunately, this is not a cut and dry story. Though the teenager was attempting to rob Ersland's pharmacy, there are significant moral and legal questions to consider in this case as to whether Ersland was in the right throughout his actions. Parker ran into the store attempting to burglarize the small, reliable pharmacy, but was immediately knocked to the floor when Ersland pulled out his Taurus Judge revolver and began firing. Parker's co-conspirator, Javante Ingram, was able to escape the scene with serious injuries as Ersland chased him outside the pharmacy and continued firing. The potential crime doesn't end there. Ersland returned to the pharmacy and obtained a second firearm, which he used to shoot Parker's unconscious body 6 more times. The following video is hard to watch, so please skip to the timestamp if you are not comfortable with violent visual content.
I want to let you know that some of the surveillance video you're about to see, some may find disturbing. The May 19th robbery of Reliable Pharmacy was all caught on videotape. 2 suspects came through the front door, the first man pointing a gun at employees. The second suspect, 16-year-old Antoine Parker, was not armed, according to prosecutors, but was putting on a mask. The store pharmacist retreats, grabs a pistol, and starts shooting, hitting Antoine Parker once in the head. The pharmacist, Jerome Ersland, then chases the armed robber down the street, firing 2 more shots. Approximately 15 seconds later, he comes back inside, walks past Antoine Parker, who prosecutors say was lying unconscious on the floor with a bullet wound to his head. Jerome Ersland grabs another gun, according to prosecutors, walks up to Antoine and shoots him 5 times in the abdomen.
Following the shootout, Ersland immediately called 911.
There was 2 of them. They came in with guns, both shooting.
He was subsequently brought into questioning. This is his interrogation.
My name's Jerome Ersland.
Ersland? Okay.
Yes, sir. Do you need my IDs or anything?
Yeah, if you have that, I'll just
Sure.
write it off that. I know they were going to get them off the counter for you. I was
Yeah,
hoping
they did.
Okay.
There's my concealed weapon one. Here's
Okay.
my military one. And, of course, I got more.
Jerome is immediately being overenthusiastic and overhelpful, providing more IDs than the officer is asking for. The officer is only asking for one piece of identification so he can write down Jerome's name and information, but Jerome is providing firearm licenses, military licenses, etc.
This will work.
I figured it would.
I think somebody else has probably already got all your information.
You know, I don't know if they did or not.
Oh, okay. What's your address then?
My kind of a rough day.
Have you been through something like this before?
Well, I have PTSD from being in the Gulf War.
While potentially relevant in some adjacent way, Jerome's mention of his PTSD at this point may serve to victimize himself and put himself in a different light than what may be considered of a murderer and more of someone who was defending himself, more of a victim state.
Okay.
Yeah, I killed a lot of people there.
Okay.
But I had to do it. And then I dream about it every night.
Okay.
I got hurt there. That's why all this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they operated on me 6 weeks ago on my spinal cord, and so that.
While I
made
do
me where
pity
my
Jerome
right
that he
leg
had to
wasn't
go through such an
paralyzed,
intense surgery,
up
the
here
mention of it at this
on
exact
top,
moment
I got
was uncalled
this
for by the
T5
detective
is
and
what
may
its
serve to
number
further
is,
victimize
and
himself.
it got blasted into thirds, and so the 3 pieces of that one vertebra are going around by my heart and my lungs and my spinal cord, and they can't operate. So
Wow.
it's
Okay.
you can't operate on it. So that's why I wear this.
Okay.
And I wear this other one because I had it operated on a few weeks, 6 weeks ago.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I have killed a number of people with a 50 caliber.
Okay. So
I was a platoon leader from Fort Bragg.
Oh, okay. Were you in the Army or the?
I was in the Army until I got hurt, and then they were gonna make me get out. But I also had a pharmacy degree, so the Air Force let me get in, and so I finished up in the Air Force because they needed pharmacists so bad they were willing to take me.
Wow.
So that's how I finished up my 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're working as pharmacist here
Yes,
at the
sir.
store.
Part-time. Okay. I can't work full-time because I can't stand up that long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty painful.
Okay. What time did you start work today? Did you come in the morning?
Yes, sir. I started work. I got there at 20 minutes until 9.
Okay.
I got there 8:40, and then the person with the key came at 8:50, and then we opened the store at 9 o'clock.
Okay. And that's when it usually opens, 9 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It always opens at 9, 6 days a week.
Okay. And then when this happened, it was getting ready to be closing time. Is that
Yes,
right?
sir.
It was about 6 o'clock.
Here's what happened.
Okay.
It was 10 minutes till 6.
Okay.
And what we do, see, our store has been hit many times with burglaries, and then it had an armed robbery a year ago. But the other pharmacist was on, and then the 3 black men beat.
It is interesting that Jerome notes the race of the assailants, given that it is a relatively unnecessary piece of information. It is important to note that the attempted armed robbers of this incident were also black.
Beat them up and stole their wallets and their money and all the narcotics. So since then, we take the narcotics off the shelf and we put it. He got a great big safe, and every night at the same time we move the narcotics and put them in the safe. So if a burglar comes in, because it was bad. They had like 8 burglaries in a year.
Oh, okay.
So, but only 1 armed robbery. And so we lock them up in there, and then that way, when we had a burglar get in and he couldn't find anything, we saw him on a picture and then on a video cam, and he was looking for stuff and he couldn't find anything. But anyway,
it's all locked up, huh?
Yeah, what was happening was we were getting ready to lock up, and I had some narcotics in my hand, and then the girls were Jean, the older lady, and the other one is named Megan, and that's her daughter.
Okay. And is just you 3?
Yeah, just us 3. So, we weren't real secure. So, all of a sudden, it was like an unreal thing. I had this, and I was behind the counter, and all of a sudden, I saw these 2 black guys with gray masks, and it was like, I don't believe that. And then they had guns.
By the way, only one of the assailants was armed.
And it was like unbelievable. And then they said, excuse the language, but anyway.
Okay.
Jerome's statement of excuse the language may serve to show himself in a good light, someone who would never even swear, let alone do something as bad as murder.
I'm sure you heard it before, but the ladies were right by the register, and they said, I want all your money and all your drugs. And so I had told them if anything like that ever happened to go into the back, and I would take care of it. And so they went to the back, but then the guys got real mad because they didn't get it, and they started shooting. And so they shot.
Jerome's depiction of the timeline is relatively slower than the actual events, in which both parties began shooting very rapidly without much communication.
And I backed up and I hit my back where it would hurt it more, and then I got grazed right here, but it's cleaned up now. Police cleaned it up and
Okay.
bandaged it, and so they got 2 shots off at me, and then I reached in my drawer and I grabbed out my Kel-Tec, and I grabbed my Kel-Tec out of my pocket, and then I grabbed my judge out of the where I keep it. And I had the judge with 1 shotgun shell, 1 .45 long coat, 1 shotgun shell, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they said, he's got a gun. And so they continued to fire, and then I started firing, and I took the one on the left.
We cannot know for certain what Jerome means by took, as in he took the one on the left, but at this point, with 1 shot, he knocked Parker completely unconscious.
And I shot him, and then the other guy ran out of the store, and this one, I ran by him, and he was still up there, and he was gonna hit me as I went by. So of course I would have been a goner because with all this, and so I had the Kel-Tec, so I just unloaded it on him.
This is not what actually happened. So after Jerome left to go fight the other assailant with his gun, he came back in and shot Parker's unconscious body 6 times.
And then he fell down.
Parker was already unconscious on the floor.
And then I chased the other guy out, and all I had left was I had the judge, but it only had, I think, 3 shots left, because I think I shot the other guy with it too, because he was the closest to me. But I ran around the corner, and then we got around to the corner of the store, and there was another black guy, and he was in a Oldsmobile, a white Oldsmobile, and the left rear hubcap was missing.
It is interesting that he points out that Javante was in a mobile, because this shows that he was trying to escape and was likely not an active threat that warranted Jerome to keep shooting.
Okay.
And he had on a green hooded like a running suit. He had on a green hooded thing, and he had a shotgun, and he started to pull it up, and I pointed this at his head, and he got down, and that other guy was running over there to get in, and that guy says, I'm getting the out of here. And so that guy continued to run, and then I went ahead and unloaded on him as he took off. And the clothes that the guy that ran off, and unfortunately he got away, was he had on solid red jogging pants. He had on running shoes. He had on a white shirt, and he had on a gray large mask that covered his entire face. And then he had a revolver.
Okay.
And of course the guy that I nailed, well, he was oddly dressed pretty much the same. But instead of solid red, he had red with spots, spot colors on them. And then he also had on a white top. And the odd thing is the masks were made by the same person, because they were both gray and they both covered the entire head. So I don't know what they look like. And the guy that was waiting to pick him up with the money and the narcotics that was parked over there, and the one that took off, I don't know what he looked like because he ducked down when he saw that I had him the bead on him, and he didn't have a chance. I saw the shotgun. It looked to be a 12, and he was pulling it up, and it looked to be a short one, like a Mossberg 500 or a Maverick. And as he was pulling it up, and I pulled down on him, and then he got away. But I can't tell you what he looked like.
Okay.
Because he ducked down because he thought I was gonna get him.
Okay.
But I wasn't scared he was gonna get it up in time, and so that other guy, I wanted to get him before he hurt anybody else.
What Jerome is describing now is a form of vigilante justice, which is illegal. This is when a citizen takes action outside of legal action in order to prevent future people from getting hurt or to commit revenge.
Okay.
The one that run away, and I used my last shot when he jumped over a hedge, but unfortunately my last shot was a shotgun.
Jerome describes that the person he was firing at was actively running away and therefore not an active threat. This bolsters the case that he was committing murder, not acting in self-defense.
Out of the judge, and so it wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
So he probably has pepper, a 4-shot. He probably has little pepper shots on him, and it's
In
all
the back as he's running?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
his back.
Okay. Then the guy in the car, where was he at? On the corner right there, 58?
Yes, sir. He was at the
Okay.
corner, and he was there with the motor running.
Was he parked?
He
on the
was
side of-
parked, and he had his motor running on the almost to the corner.
Which way was he facing?
He was facing.
Towards Penn?
He was Penn.
Okay.
He took a ride on Penn.
Okay.
Real fast. He took a ride.
Turn north on Penn?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, north.
Okay.
And he ducked down, and he wasn't even looking. You know, the cars screeched around because he wasn't looking. You know.
Okay. And he's sitting in the driver's seat and he's bringing the shotgun up to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because he was parked.
Parked, okay.
That's how he did that.
So it was obvious he was waiting for them to come out.
Yes, sir.
Did the one guy ever run over to that car, or he just kept
Yes,
on?
he ran across. He ran across the grass, and he ran over to the car. But the car. I was back here, and he was running across to get in the car. But the car took off before he got to it. So this guy was up the creek. So he turned from going this way to going that way.
Okay.
Because that guy left him behind.
It was a white 4-door car, you think?
It was a white 4-door Oldsmobile model 88, approximately a 1988. It was a junky.
So it was an older car.
Yes, it was a junky old car, approximately 88. It was a large car, and
And it was missing the rear hubcap, you said?
yes, the left rear hubcap.
Okay. Was there anything else that stood out about it?
It had a muffler that was kind of loud. It had holes in it, it sounded like.
Okay. Was there anybody else in the car that you could tell, or was it just that one guy?
Just the one
One
guy.
guy.
So it was a 3-person robbery like the other one they had.
Okay. Was it a bright white, or was it
No.
kind of a silver
no,
maybe? Or?
No, it was dull.
Okay.
It hadn't been washed or anything, and its paint job was bad.
Okay. But it was definitely a white.
Yes.
Okay. And then you didn't see that car again?
No, sir.
Okay.
What I did then was I went in and called the 911.
Okay. The guy in the red shirt that's running jumps over the hedge?
Yes.
What's the last place you see him? You just see him running down the street?
Yes, the last place I see him is when he runs over the hedge, and I'm out of ammo, so I run in to call the police to tell him his location.
Okay.
Because I couldn't do anything. I can't run because I'm
Right.
crippled.
Right.
So
But he's running the last thing you
he's
see.
running like the wind,
Okay.
and so I go in and tell him which direction and where he's at.
It's interesting that to Jerome, the point of his 911 call was to keep attacking the assailant that is running away and not to admit to the taking of the life of Parker.
And which way he's headed.
Okay. So you call 911.
Immediately, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when this all starts and they let the guys in, you back there in that north part of the pharmacy, or are you up there with the girls?
No, I'm right in the middle of the dispensing area.
Okay.
So the girls are up front by the cash register, and I'm over here right in the middle of the dispensing area.
Okay. The big tall area there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm right in the middle, and I've got my hands full of one of the narcotic boxes, because we have 5 narcotic boxes, and I had one of them in my hand.
Okay.
And then these guys come in, and then
Did you see him come in?
I didn't see him come
Okay.
in. The first I saw him was when when I see these people with gray masks, and they're cursing, and they start shooting, and that's the first time I see him.
Jerome's story has changed. Originally, he stated that the assailants were verbally communicating with him before they started firing, but now there is no mention of communication.
They're already shooting at me. I thought, oh gosh, I can't get to my gun in time, but they missed me.
But are both of them shooting at you?
Yeah.
Both of them have a gun?
Only one assailant was armed.
Yes, they both shot me, and they shot high.
Okay. Could you tell what kind of guns they had?
Yeah, they looked to be like cheap revolvers.
Okay, both of them
imported. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say imported, and I would say they were, from the sound of them, they were 38 or 357s.
Okay. Are they black or silver?
Okay, they were both black.
Both black.
Both
Okay.
black. Yeah.
Okay.
And the people were all 3 black.
Okay. But as soon as they come in, and then you see them, they fire off a couple rounds at you.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're shooting, and I see all of this happening at once, and I fell back against one of the bays and hit my back and hurt it worse.
Okay.
And then by then I had pulled out the Kel-Tec, and then I shot the one guy with it left-handed, and then I got time to get to my good gun, and
Where was the guy at that you shot when you shot
he
him?
was in by the cash register.
Okay, by that front cash register as you
Yes,
come
sir.
in. Okay.
He was right by it, and the other guy was in the corner behind the cash register in the corner, and he was going to come around this side and get me, and this guy was going to come around this side.
Okay, so they're both kind of coming around that
Yeah,
register there to get in.
they're coming around each way to get me like that, because I'm their only threat.
Okay.
And I'm the one that they figure's got the narcotics and knows where the money is.
Right.
And so they just figure they'll get me like they do all the other pharmacists in town. They go get the pharmacists and beat them up, and they get their money and the narcotic. And
Right.
that's what they were planning to do, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm positive.
That sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah, because
then-
they both come around there.
And you get that guy, and he goes down.
He went down.
And then the guy that's in the red shirt's coming around the other way.
Right.
What happens? You fire
I
some rounds
fire
at him?
him, and then he gets scared and runs out.
Okay. Does he have to push the button to get out, or is the door just open for him?
Well, that is odd. How did he get out? Somehow he just busted out of it.
Is there like maybe a latch there that he can push to get out, or?
I don't know how he got out.
Okay, that's fine.
I
just
don't know
curious.
how he got out, but he got out immediately.
Okay.
I don't know how he got out. I was worried about the other guy because he was still a danger to me, so that's why I had to get him with the Kel-Tec as I was running out.
Okay. Okay. So, but he goes down. How many times do you think
Yeah.
you shoot at this guy that goes down?
Probably 5.
Okay.
But
then-
he kept staying up,
Okay.
and I was afraid he was going to get the girls. He
Okay,
was
right.
staying up, so
Because
I
they
just
went
kept
around that
shooting.
way back to the back office.
Yeah, they
Okay.
went to they didn't go to the back office, they went to the back, the very back, which is, there's a refrigerator, and they went in the back room.
Okay.
So that's the best place. So nobody went in the boss's office.
The middle office there.
No,
yeah.
that's where they got put before. So
Okay.
they didn't want any part of that office.
Okay. Let me see if this is my partner calling from. Sorry about that. They're trying to
That's
find,
okay, sir.
trying to figure out the video part of it out there. I guess Blake's the one who knows how to do that.
Oh, maybe so.
Okay. Let's see. We were talking about you shot at this guy that went down about 5 times. How many times do you think you shot at this other guy?
4.
4 times in the store,
No, 4. 2 outside.
and then
No, 3 outside and 1 in the store.
okay. And that's from you're using the kill tech on this guy,
Yeah,
and then you're using the judge on.
yeah, on
This
the
guy.
one other guy.
Okay. So altogether, how many rounds do you think? Just so we can get a count of.
Okay, I shot 6 Celtics and 4 judges.
Okay.
10 shots.
And what caliber's the kill tech?
The Celtic is a 380,
Okay.
and of course the judge is a 410/45 long coat.
So you shot 4 of those, so 10 total. And then how many times do you think they shot at you? You said
2, I think.
each shot 2 or just 2 total?
I think 2 total.
2 total, okay.
It could be more. I don't know.
You just remember 2 though. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay. Can you just? I guess you really didn't get a good look at the guy in the red shirt, other than he had on a red shirt. Just a solid red shirt.
The one that got away.
Right.
He had on. He didn't have on a red shirt at all.
Oh, that's
it
right.
It was a white shirt,
Okay.
and he had on red pants that were solid.
Okay.
The shirt was white solid.
Okay, that's the one you told me about before.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the one in the car had on a green.
He had on a green hooded running top.
Okay. Like a sweatshirt kind of.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
a sweatshirt.
Okay, and then once you come back in and call 911, do you go back and get the girls out, bring them out, or how does
Yeah,
that?
I went to them. I didn't know they were all right, and so I get them out,
Okay, went to check on them and then bring them
and
out.
I found out they were all right
Okay,
because I was afraid they were shot.
right, okay. And so, because as soon as this starts happening, they run.
See, since these guys were on me, I didn't know where the girls went, and I figured they went to the other office.
Okay.
And I hunted for them, and then I found them back there hiding in the back.
Okay.
They were hiding back there still.
Okay. And then you got grazed on your left arm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything else you can think of, or?
Oh, sir, that's all I got. I
Okay.
wish the other guy wouldn't have got away.
I guess really you never see him other than with a mask on, so you don't know really what he looks like. Right?
No, I could tell their ages were, they were approximately, I would say 28 from their voices and
Let me just stop it.
that.
Okay. Okay, and you think it was just those 3? You don't think there's anybody else probably involved that you?
I don't
Could
think
tell.
so. There could have been somebody laying in the back seat of the car,
Okay.
but
No other cars parked around?
I didn't see anybody.
Did you see the guy that was running down the road? Did you see him get picked up later on? Okay, because you're
No,
back.
but I went right back in because I wanted to see if the girls were all right.
Okay, I
So I
understand.
went right back in.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You never saw the white car again.
No,
Okay.
it went off north on Pennsylvania.
Okay. And these guys, you didn't recognize from maybe if coming in earlier that day or anything, so like casing it out or anything? Okay.
No, we have people that walk back and forth sometimes, and I think they're casing the joint.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever it was, well, the guys, I believe they had cased the joint because they knew when to hit us. When our money was out, our money was all out, and the narcotics were all out. So whoever those guys, they knew what time we did everything.
Okay, so they had a pretty good idea of what was
They
going on.
They had good intel.
Okay. Let me go call my partner out there and see if we're about done out there. See if there's anything he wants to ask.
Okay.
I don't. You had to do what you had to do.
It is interesting to think about whether this is the officer's genuine belief or if he is just trying to have a good relationship with the suspect so that way he will divulge more information.
I know.
Now they're shooting at you.
I hate that, but I had to because I didn't want the girls to get killed.
Right.
And I didn't want to get shot.
And just from what everybody I've talked to said, I don't see any problems. It's
good.
It's self-defense. I mean, they're shooting at you. You did what you had to do.
Let me ask you, what happens if I get these people's families and they start suing me? Is there anybody here I can call to get advice?
What'll happen is we're going to get all this information together. We're going to make all these reports, taking pictures. We got CSI out there. We'll get all this together and we'll take it over to the district attorney's office. He'll look at it and he'll say, yes, this was self-defense.
The DA would not rule that this was self-defense.
Okay, that he won't file charges. That's not going to happen then. Okay, so then that would kind of clear you then from, say, like it was a homicide or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's what it is, but he's going to say that, no, this was a case of self-defense, but he's the only one that can do that. We just have to go over and present the case to him.
Detectives can lie to a suspect during an interrogation, but this borders the line of making a favor or claiming something to the suspect that is just completely false that the police officer honestly has no control over. He would end up being charged with homicide.
And once that happens, we'll call and let you know. Okay. Are all of your guns still there in the pharmacy? Okay, we'll probably take those for now, but we'll get them back to you as soon as we can.
That's fine. Keep them as long as you want.
Okay, well, we'll try to get... Ballistics will probably do some things to him, some tests, fire off some rounds, and then we'll get them back to you.
Okay, that's great.
We're not going to keep them forever. I don't want you to think that. We'll give them back to you. But that's kind of what's going to happen as far as the family and stuff. I mean, they can always sue you. That's something, but, there's going to be a full investigation on it, and the district attorney's going to look at it, so they're not going to be able to say, civilly they can, but criminally there's not going to, there won't be anything criminal once the DA's done with it.
Right, I understand.
But people can sue anybody for anything nowadays.
They can. I know. It's pitiful.
And that's a possibility. I mean, I don't really know what to tell you on that, but
I know.
Once we get our investigation and stuff done, that's only going to help you.
Again, this is a lie. The investigation would go on to show that Jerome did indeed commit murder.
Okay.
And I did do just what I had to do. So it's not a deal where you have a big choice.
Right. Yeah, and I don't want you to think that we're doing this because we're going to try to, put charges on you or something like that.
No, I don't think that at all. You're on my side, and
we just have to get,
your job.
Always remember, when you are in an interrogation room, the police are never on your side.
Right. He ended up dying because of what he did, and we have to kind of investigate that, like I said, and then we take it to the district attorney's office.
Of course.
So I just want to let you know that's what's happening. We're not...
I appreciate it.
Okay.
It is interesting that Jerome shows no remorse when he learns that he is responsible for loss of life one way or another.
Okay. Let me go call him. Do you want to drink water or anything? You okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. Do you want to sit in here or you want to go sit in the hallway? Either way is fine.
I'll go sit in the hallway.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah, some people don't like sitting in here. It's kind of claustrophobic.
I just need to stand up.
It is likely that the many flaws in Jerome's statement would be powerful evidence for the state against Jerome. Ersland would fight in court that he was innocent because he was acting in self-defense. He saw Parker move and therefore perceived him as a threat. Let's see what the verdict was.
Thank you. Be seated, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury has informed us they have arrived at a verdict. The jury will be coming down momentarily. I want to remind everyone in the spectator gallery that this is a court of law and there will be no demonstrations, outbursts, shouting, clapping, cheering, anything else allowed. This is a court of law. I understand and I certainly realize that this has been a very emotional case for all parties involved. But until you get outside the courtroom, you must maintain your dignity or the deputies present will remove you and then I will handle it otherwise. This is a court of law. Bring the jury in. Let the record reflect all the parties are present, including each member of the jury, the defendant in person and by counsel, state by counsel. Who is the foreperson, please? Ms. Mitchell, has the jury arrived at a verdict? If you'll hand the verdict form to the bailiff, please. Defendant, please rise. Omitting the caption, we, the jury, impaneled and sworn in the above entitled cause, do upon our oath find as follows. Defendant is guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree, and punishment is set at imprisonment for life. Signed, Barbara Mitchell. Is that the verdict of the jury? So say you all. All right, you may be seated.
Do you think Ersland deserved a life sentence in prison for his actions? Or was he acting out of self-defense because Parker was genuinely a dangerous threat, so he had to keep shooting? Thanks for watching.